All right, here we go. Welcome back to the Pocket Dimension, everyone. Here we are once again, painting all the things. This is Orktober, and we are painting orcs. Orcs. And I have, if you will excuse my fingernails disrepair here this evening, uh, I've been working all day and I'm still a little grimy. So that's what happens when you work the trades. That's just a side effect. So this is the original Citadel color of Goblin Green. Now it's by Coat d'Arms. It's number 108 by Coat d'Arms. In the United States, you can get Coat d'Arms from ScaleCreepMiniatures.com. So check them out. Again, I don't get any kind of consideration for it, but I have used them in the past. I picked up a lot of these at Hard Knocks down in Radcliffe, Kentucky. So I stocked up a couple of years ago of the old Citadel line from Coat d'Arms. And yeah, so this is going to be probably closer to that color. This is the Army Painter Goblin Green that I used on these guys. So I'm gonna just go over this kind of olive reddish green with the original color green here, the original Goblin Green. So should be a pretty quick evening to get through these. We'll be here till 11 o'clock tonight. Got a little bit of a late start. I worked a little bit later tonight. My customer asked me to start later this morning than I usually do. So, but it takes the time that it takes, you know. So, all right. So let's go ahead and use the real, honest to goodness Goblin Green. Let's go ahead and open her right up here. All right. Just like old times. There it is. So I'm going to put it right up there. And we'll pick up a little water. Never pick up paint with... What are you doing, Pumpkin? Throwing a temper tantrum? I've got him blocked off here. So let's see what happens here. This is a little bit thin, but that's okay. We've already got a base of a green going on here, so I think it will go on nicely. Yeah, and definitely, it's definitely a lot closer. The army green skin color is a lot closer to the original. What are you doing, Pumpkin? Boy, you are determined to come over here and visit, aren't you? Don't worry, folks. I don't have a shock collar on them like other streamers like to do to their animals. That was pretty awful. Allegedly, anyway. Why would you do that? I don't know. Some people's children, I guess. Yeah, next door neighbor's dog is doing his job. Keeping those deer away, I guess. We did have a bear rumbling around in more wooded parts of town a couple of years ago. So this is the real, honest to goodness Goblin Green that I'm using here. So I'm kind of doing twice as much work, I guess. But I also don't really know that I like this darker green from the Vallejo prismatic line. But it does make a nice base to go over with the lighter green. So yeah, you can definitely see a difference there. There's definitely a difference. Now it may skew a little bit. Oh, it may skew just a little bit darker, just because it's got that slightly darker green underneath it. I don't know. We'll find out, right? Once it's dried down. Hello, Pumpkin. What you doing, buddy? Exploring. Try to find the power strip. All right. Put these guys over here. Stack them over here as I finish up. So it's looking like the Army Painter green is pretty bright. In fact, it might actually be brighter, more blue than the HMG / Coat d'Arms. So this is really going green here, very green. But the Army Painter green seems to be a little more, I don't know, it's different. It's different. I mean, I could be picking up some of that reddish tone too from that earlier coat, from the previous coat. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I might actually kind of like the Army Painter green skin color a little bit better, just because it's got a brightness to it that the HMG doesn't seem to have. What are you doing, Pumpkin? Here, you want to get past these cases? Here you go. There you go, buddy. All right. I know, you've probably never seen anybody quite so fastidious or concerned about the proper color green, right? For orcs. But let me tell you, folks, it's not easy being green. So I've heard. Oi, it ain't easy being green. Maybe we'll just try out every green in the collection here. But no, I digress. Once I get these boys all the correct green on them, I'll move on to some more things. Maybe some well, Definitely want to get these guys painted up. I think I'd like to paint up some of the vehicles and the like that I've got stashed away. Dreadnoughts and cans and killicans. Got some looted vehicles to work on. I've got a looted Land Raider, which I think what I'll probably do with the Land Raider is I'll probably make a magnetized turret so I can use it as a what did they call it? There's a boom daka? I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, I could make it as a maxed out troop transport, or I could put a big gun on it. So I think I'll make it so I can do both. This last weekend I kind of missed a deal just because I really didn't know. It's kind of being a little stingy on myself. I saw a guy selling a bunch of Rhino and Land Raider chassis, and I thought about picking them up. Thought about making them an offer. I think it would have been a good offer, but I just was like, you know what? If I need anything like that, I'll just get it off of eBay later. It just makes a lot more sense to do that. And as you can see, I'm not being super precise with the paint application. I'm getting it all over places that it doesn't really want to go, or places that I don't want it to go. I should say. Hey, Savage, what's going on? You're in my chat. Nice. Glad to have you here, Savage Brewski. How you doing? Seen you printing off some goblins for one-page rules. So a little goblinoid action. So a little green skins for the month. Nice. Welcome to Orktober. This is my Orktober thing. Yeah, so I'm painting up all these orc boys, and this I'm actually using tonight. So I did my first coat with the Goblin Green from the D&D by Vallejo Prismatic line. It was a little bit too red for me. A little bit more of a base coat color. So it's kind of has sort of an olive drab look to it, a little bit more olive-ish or red. Here is the Army Painter green skin color there. You can, I don't know if it shows up well here or not, but there's a definite discrepancy there. But I wanted to get back to like my original green skin color, which is somewhere, seems like it's probably somewhere in between those two. So the Army Painter is a little bit more blue. The Vallejo is a little more red. So I'm going to say that the original HMG Citadel line is right in between those two. A little bit more yellowy, maybe a little brighter. It's definitely got a little satin finish to it. It's got a little waxiness to it, which I think is kind of cool for an orc. They're described as having waxy green skin. Hello, Pumpkin. How you doing, buddy? So this is the paint we're using tonight. This is the Coat d'Arms line, which is made by HMG Paints Limited. So it's number 108, which is Goblin Green, which was the original supplier for Citadel back in the day. Citadel likes to change suppliers, seems like every couple of years. So we've never gotten the same color twice. Let's see. Yeah, about 15 more to go with the models released so far. Nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, well, keep on keeping on. Enjoy that process, man. So, Savage Brewski is out there having his own Orktober by printing up space goblins. Space goblins. Put space goblins in your space pants. Space pants. Best work Peter Dinklage ever did was Saturday Night Live. Space pants. Space pants. Space pants. So, but yeah, welcome. Thanks for being in my chat. I'm in your chat, stealing your dudes. Of course, on Twitch, if you hopped over, I am also running a fundraiser for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So check that out if you want. Pop over and throw in a ducat or two. Or not, you don't have to. But if you are watching on Facebook or Rumble, Facebook, jeez. I'm not on Facebook yet. It's a matter of computer processing power, bandwidth, and all that stuff. I thought about pushing out to Facebook as well as Instagram. Thought about it. But that's about all I did. Just like think about it. No. If you're on YouTube, is what I meant to say. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, and if you're not subscribed yet, obviously, I know some of you are subscribed, but so sharing is a funny thing. Even if you think you're not going to share it anywhere specific, that's fine. However, the algorithm actually notices when you hit the share button and copy the address. So, even if you don't know where to share it to, you can still share it and kick that algorithm up a notch. So, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube, as well as the Rumble. I'm not sure how it works over there, but I know Discovery is lousy on Rumble. But it's there. It's there for those of you who don't want to be on YouTube or Twitch. I use the Rumble as well because I want to reach everybody with the good thing. Everybody deserves to have good hobby encouragement. Well, Pumpkin seems to have gotten bored and probably run off to the back of the couch to hang out. He has made his appearance for his audience. And you probably thought that this was just a hobby stream with the guy painting little people, little plastic people. You didn't know you'd have this is actually Pumpkin's stream. He just lets me paint on it. So he's promised me he'll never put a shock collar on me. Unserious pumpkins. Yes. I mean, he's only a cat. He's only a cat. He can only be so serious. He can only be just so serious. Why so serious? You want to know how I got these scars? The cat gave them to me. So these are all the guys. These are dudes from the Assault on Black Reach starter kit that came out with 5th edition some years ago. And you're just now getting around to them. Yes. Yes. Just now getting around to them. Of course, I did a lot of vehicles. A lot of people do their painting style differently. I mean, as far as their approach to doing things. I mean, not really style, I should say, more their work process. Some people will paint up a squad and then they'll paint a vehicle to go with it. Me, I was painting the vehicles first, as opposed to doing them afterwards as a reward. So different people approach their hobbies in different ways. There is no right way to do it other than to do it. Let's see. I did not provide kitty treats in a timely fashion and gave 3 belly pets, which is well above the maximum tolerance of 0. Ah, yes. Well, I need to get some kitty treats for Pumpkin. He's just about out. He likes the chimkin, the Friskies, the Temptations by Friskies. We're giving him the chimkin ones. And boy, he'll do just about anything. If I need him, if he's back here bothering me, I'll run out to the kitchen and I'll shake the bag, and boy, he comes a running. So he's easily bribed with treats. So. But he likes. He actually likes kitty. He actually likes belly rubs. Believe it or not, he's not. He's not too much of a. He doesn't turn down belly rubs. At least from me. They say that when a cat allows you to rub their belly, it's a sign of deep trust and affection. I'll take their word for it, you know. He does like to play wrestle, though. He does like to kind of. He soft paws my hand, and then he'll do bunny kicks. So he likes to play at being fierce. He's never really hurt me. So I've got that going on. So tomorrow, I think, if the weather is decent, I will probably prime up some fantasy orcs and work on those next week. Of course, see how far we get with these guys. They do their clothes and helmets and weapons. There's a lot to do on these guys before I switch. Before I switch horses. Yes, Pumpkin, do you want to come up here? You want to deposit some more cat hairs in the paint pot here? He says, yes, I have to have my contribution, he says. I have to do my contribution. He says it is my stream after all. He thinks it is anyway. What? What are you doing? What are you doing? You trying to type on the computer? Ouch! Elbow. I just found my elbow, folks. What's up, Pumpkin? Gonna inspect things? Does it meet to your approval? Does it now? The nice thing is that even though the coat that I've already got on there is not the coat that I particularly, the color that I particularly want, it does mean that I don't have to be quite so. I don't have to be very generous with the paint that I put on there. So, what's up, Pumpkin? Huh? Are you here to see your public? I think your public sees you. All right. Okay, hold on there. I better close this up so you don't knock it over. What? What? Put your nose all over the orc? All right. You happy now? Does it meet with your approval? Can I put you down now? This is not until you give me 4 more kitty cat ear scratchers. Okay, 1 scratch, 2 scratch, 3 scratch. Alrighty. Down. Down. Okay. Cat hair on my pant legs. Good. Always helpful. You gonna lay down there now? Huh? You gonna lay down there? What? What'd you find? What did you find? Nope. 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 I don't know what bits you're found. I don't know what you're doing down there, but nope. That's gonna be nope. Let's put you out. Let's put you out of the pocket dimension. All right, buddy. We're going to evict you from the pocket dimension. All right. All right. All right. All right. That happens sometimes. I mean, that should... Cat on stream should get me like at least 10 more viewers, right? Oh well. Sometimes he's really good, other times he just gets in the way. But unlike certain other streamers, we don't abuse our animals here in the pocket dimension. What was it, a few years ago? There was that one girl that she spat a beer into her cat's mouth, which cats cannot metabolize alcohol. That could have killed that poor cat. Talk about animal cruelty. So, yeah, Kitty is famous. I think people will probably tune in just to see if they'll get a glimpse of Pumpkin. In the stream. What I might do even is I might check this bottle of HMG coat to arms goblin green against my earlier orcs that I painted years and years and years and years and years and years ago to see how if it stacks up still, if it really is the same color. Of course, over the years I'm sure that color is faded and changed and gotten darker as it's aged on those figures. So I don't know. I don't know. But that happens sometimes. Paint being what it is, sometimes changes in tone over years. So. Found a bot right here on the Twitch. We are going to have to report that as a bot. Next. Bot. Next. Bot. At 40 minutes. 040. Block the user and ban the user. All right. So, ban the bots. Ban the bots. So that could be a mission in the new one-page rule starter set, right? And they got the robot overlords packed in with the Saurian star host. Of course, I've got my Necrons right here that I've been working on bit by bit. Ones and zeros. So. Yep, so the customer I got right now is an older couple, and they're getting ready to move into a place downtown. But they won't let me in early because they're coming from another community just outside of town, and they want to open it up for me, open the place up, and so they I can only do it on their schedule, you know. So I had to get a later start than normal today and yesterday. Puts the late start becomes a late evening, you know. So that's kind of frustrating. But you got to work on people's schedule. When you're doing custom work for people. So this Goblin Green is like naturally just a little on the thick side. But even with thinning it down, it just doesn't have great coverage, which is probably why they changed the supplier. I don't know, it seems to have pretty decent... Well, maybe it's just me. I don't know. I'm using a different product than what I would normally use. But trying to get that heavy metal color from way back in the day. Of course, they've changed methods over the years. Of course, I like excuse me. Whenever I started painting, it was second, like they were just moving into the second edition of Warhammer 40K off of Rogue Trader, and they were just moving on to, I believe it was the fourth edition. Warhammer Fantasy Battle. So my first couple of white dwarfs had... It wasn't so much of a painting guide as it just showed off the way things were painted. and I was already doing scale models at the time anyway, so I just went ahead and matched what I saw, matched to the best of my ability what I saw in the magazines. I found appropriate-ish colors and just matched what I could. Of course, at the time, I didn't really have access to the Citadel colors, so some of those early orcs were actually I actually used military colors like olive drab green, so they were a little bit darker and the like. So it was a different time. It was a different time. It was a time of it was a time of dragons and warriors. It was a time of expansion baseball teams. First game on television. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I had the one of my favorite memories of painting was when I had the Marlins game going on. I think I was home from school for some reason. I don't remember if it was my allergies were killing had made me feel pretty sick or what. I don't remember. Whatever it was, there was a reason I was home on a weekday. And on ESPN, they had the Marlins' first home game playing. And so the TV was in the room adjacent to my bedroom. And so I left the door open. And I was painting and listening to the Marlins' first game, first official game ever. I thought that was really neat. It's kind of what do the kids call it these days, a core memory. But I mean, you don't have to watch a baseball game to enjoy it. In fact, I used to listen to the radio a lot, especially during baseball season. But I tell you what, baseball took a turn back in '95 that I personally have just not recovered from. I mean, if you said, "Hey, let's go watch a game. Let's go out to the stadium and watch a game," I'm not going to turn it down. Or if you wanted to watch it on TV and I mean, I'm not a big TV watcher anyway. But if somebody had it on, if it's on, I'll watch it. But I don't really go out of my way to keep up with it anymore. Which is a pity. I will say that when I was living in New York, I did keep up with the Yankees. To an extent. I mean, you really couldn't avoid keeping up with the Yankees, especially in the late 90s. Jeter and Martinez and all those guys. Had some friends from Baltimore. I know, hard to believe, right? And they would always tease and say, "Oh yeah, that Derek Cheater," instead of Jeter, right? So because it's Baltimore, right? Their East Coast rivalries are not to be overlooked. So kind of blazing through these guys. I may go back and so it is a little bit darker even than the Army Painter. It's a little brighter. So I may actually use the Army Painter. I may dry brush over with the Army Painter just to get a little bit brighter look. But there's also a Goblin or Orc skin wash that I want to try. A couple of different washes. There is the Thraka Green wash, which this is almost dead, but this is Thraka Green. So I might use some of that, but I also have a green ink from way back in the day that is still alive, barely. Somehow it's still alive, but I've got that green ink that I want to use. Kind of going at this old school. So there's all sorts of other neat things over here. I've got a couple of green washes here from Army Painter. Let's see, where are they? They are these ones here. Yeah. So this one is a green tone. There's a green tone wash here. So there's that. So we'll see how that goes. I think I'm interested in seeing how the green tone wash goes over there. Army Painter green tone goblin skin there. So it may knock it down to closer to the original green as well. The original, the original Citadel there. But I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. We are experimenting. You will find out when I find out, folks. That's all I can say. You'll find out when I find out. I am by no means a professional. I'm just the guy with the microphone. So don't take my word for it. As LeVar Burton used to say, don't take my word for it. So if you're just viewing on Rumble or YouTube, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. If you are already subscribed, go ahead and don't forget to drop that like. Also, you can share, and you can kind of feed the algorithm by just hitting share, and then just copy the address when it comes up. Even if you don't have any place to specifically share the stream. And then but it does kick the algorithm a little bit. Of course, I've got the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline charity button on my Twitch channel, my Twitch page. If you hop over there, you can make your donation. I think it's a worthy cause. I certainly hope they help people. I know people that probably could have used that help. Maybe they thought somebody would judge them if they told them. If they talked about it with their friends, maybe they were not wanting to be too forthcoming with their self-destructive feelings. But, everybody needs to be heard. Can't fix what you don't know about, right? Sometimes you just got to get something out in the world. Get it out. Depression and that kind of thing is a splinter. We don't leave splinters in, do we? We find ways to deal with them, right? It is nearly 8:30, and we have blasted through quite a few of these little guys. So the next are half metal. So they've got metal bodies, plastic heads, plastic legs, and these are rocket boys. Speaking of rocket boys, use my code Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, and help out the channel with your purchase at dubby.gg. It is an energy drink that, at least for me, does not give me a crash down. It's sugar-free and comes in a variety of interesting flavors. I think some of the names they come up with the flavors are probably more interesting than the flavors themselves. So check out dubby.gg and use my code ROKKITFUEL. That's Rocket Fuel, ROKKITFUEL, for 10% off your purchase. And I get a little kick that can help the channel. So there are certain things I'm going to need soon. I need a computer that's not running Windows 10. There are ways to get around it. I've been looking at that, so I may be occupied this weekend with figuring out how to do the thing, because I don't believe that my old computer can handle an upgrade. So I'll have to get a new machine before too long, I think. As well as there's some other camera equipment that I would like to obtain. In order to make things work better, look better, etc., so on and so forth. So. Now I'm painting all the skin first because, as you can see, it's a little messy. That undercoat is a little bit messy. So what I'm doing is I'm not getting too worried about it, because the paint will dry and then I can go back over it with the next color and clean things up. So that will be the next step on these bad boys. So here we go with the rocket boys. Little tooth in there. Oop, let me just put my thumb right there on that elbow. Put my thumb on that elbow and completely mess up the paint, right? Why am I not using my painting handles? Well, because I got a lot of these little dudes to paint up, and I think that if I use my painting handles, I'd just be constantly switching out. So I'm not too worried about it right now. I like using the painting handles when I'm doing a little bit more detail work, a little more special figures or the like. But units, I don't know that I'm really too concerned about painting units using paint handles. They're making them, they're like $12 now, $13. I'd like to get about 10 of them, but they're kind of priced out of my level at the moment. Well, I can never find them either. That's the other problem. I saw 3 of them at the convention that I went to last weekend, but I was like, do I want to buy those now? Do I want to just buy 3? And it's the newer style paint handle. I've got the earlier paint handle, which is kind of big and chunky, but I like the new one because it's got a smaller stem on it, so you can get in closer to your subject, get down lower, and get a better angle on things. But I like the Citadel one because it clamps to the figure as opposed to, you're not gluing anything to a stick or using blue tack. My problem with blue tack is I tend to punch on the figure too much. I push on it and kind of punch down on it with my painting style, or my method, I guess. Not really style, but the way I do things, I tend to put a lot of force into it, and I've pushed figures right off the blue tack before, so that's why I don't do that. I tried it. I don't care for it. I have hot glued figures to a painting handle as well. That presents a whole nother world of problems. So it's kind of like, no, not gonna do that. Not gonna do that again. So I think the next step will be to paint his clothes, and then the armor, boots, equipment, etc., etc., and so forth. It's a slow day in the pocket dimension, evidently. Not too many people are tuning in tonight, it seems. Understandable. If everybody's week was like my week, today should feel like a Friday. And I'm only painting orcs. Nothing really exciting to see here. Just greenskins. Just greenskin mushroom marauders. All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Clean off my brush here. Maybe I keep on picking up green water out of there. Probably need to clean out the old water bucket there. So I'm going to see what do we got here in the army painter colors here. Green skin. So let's do a little color comparison. So this is the original, This is the Army Painter green skin color. Before they had the Fanatic colors. This is the old war paints because that's what I have. So that's what I have. So let's go ahead and get a little bit of that out, and we'll see how that looks. Just for kicks, we'll compare it. So, I might need to mix it up a little bit more. Seems a little thin. Of course, this could have been one of the ones that still had a bunch of medium in it. probably is. Probably still has quite a bit of medium in it, so as opposed to large. Well, it just wasn't mixed well, looks like. Much better. So this is, I think this is like the base coat green, goblin green. Still a little thin, isn't it? But the funny thing is, I'd be surprised if that actually dries to that color. And of course, here is the original, also fairly thin. Very strange. How do we ever get paint? How do we ever get color on this stuff with such thin, glazy paints, huh? Although, if you mix those two together, you get that more green, more bluish green look, don't you? Interesting. I don't think I'm going to worry about trying to make a test of it. I'm not Brent from Goobertown Hobbies. I'm not going to worry about it. Maybe I will do a comparison somewhere down the line when I have more time to actually do an actual video of that, but I don't think that I'm going to be able to do that this time around. I just want to get things painted. Let's see. Maybe this one is better. I don't know. I've got a couple of bottles of the old Army Painter Goblin Green. I don't know which one's going to be good for this. If any of them are good for it or not. So anyway, let's take a look here. Oh, now that one does have, look at that. So you got to get that stuff out. Right there. That is acrylic medium, folks. Right there. And there is usually a little bit that is on top of this stuff that separates out. But the old Army Painter, that's the big problem with some of the Army Painter stuff, is it tends to have a little too much of that in there for shelf stability. So you got to get rid of quite a bit before you use it. Alright, so let's see if that did anything. Oh yeah, okay, so that's the color right there. That is the color. So that's the color that these guys are. Right there. We'll see if that dries and is indistinguishable. So that's a little bit closer to the original, the Citadel, isn't it? Let's see how that goes. It is a little bit darker than the Citadel. So there's the Citadel. And because paint colors tend to dry dark, they dry down in tone instead of up in tone. So that might be. We'll see. We'll see. Let's let that dry. This guy is going to be our test subject here. And see if. See if that's the color, that original color that I used on these guys. You use the word original 15 different ways, JP. Well, how am I supposed to know what you're talking about? The original GW color or the original color that you painted those guys in? Yes. So, evidently, okay, so there's your difference there. That's green skin, and that's goblin green. So green skin was evidently, likely, the low part of that triad with, let me see, just a second. So green skin was dark. Goblin green is actually lighter. So goblin green would be that bluish green that this guy and some of his ilk are actually painted in. So that's the goblin green that I used from Army Painter. And then you can see the difference between that and the HMG coat d'arms. It does have that waxy sheen to it, that slight satin color to it. So this is a little bit more pale. This is a little darker. This is slightly more pale. So I may use goblin green as a highlight color. Like, I might use Army Painter goblin green as a highlight. I don't know. We'll see if this guy dries up and it's the same color as his previous bit, but it looks like it's staying kind of dark, doesn't it? Hard to say. Fascinating. Hey, so we're just here waiting for paint to dry. Whoever thought we would watch paint dry for entertainment, right? But here we are watching paint dry for entertainment's sake. So, let me see. Let me go get one of my old fantasy orcs and see how that stacks up color-wise. Now, here's some goblins that I did up the other day, and that's pretty bright. But that's more like the that's more this color though, kind of that yeah, because I used this color on these goblins because it said goblin green, so I figured, but it went on a little thin, so. But it's got that more olive reddish sort of a tinge to it. So we'll see. Let me take a look. Let me go get one of my old fantasy orcs that I did paint up with the original, the actual honest to goodness original goblin green. I might even have that bottle of goblin green somewhere. I don't know. It might have survived over all these years, as these things sometimes do. So I'm looking through some of these other bins that I have of paints and things and stuff. interesting. I know. Oh no, JP said this is interesting. What can that mean? I've got some Citadel colors here, like the last iteration of Citadel colors. Let's see. So no, evidently the old bottle of Goblin Green is gone. Probably dried up and tossed it. So that's gone. But I do have Moot Green. This is also Citadel Goblin Green. I don't know if that's any good or not. Don't know if that's any good or not. Here's Moot Green, which is probably a really neat highlight color. And here is Warboss Green. So Warboss Green looks like it might be a little more pale than Goblin Green, but it's a layer paint. Layer paint. Very strange. They changed their labels around, so you never know what you're supposed to use, right? Or where it comes in the scheme of things. That is the one thing I do like. I will hand it to Citadel. Is that they have a system that you can rely on as far as they say, well, this is a base paint, this is a layer paint, and kind of give you an idea of where in the process you're going to use it where in the process you're going to use it. See, if I say where in the process you're going to use it at, somebody's going to jump down my throat about using a preposition at the end of the sentence. So, maybe not, you know. And then this is Skarsnik Green. So it's even lighter. But it's kind of pale. It's a little on the desaturated side, in my opinion. That desaturation is kind of leaning towards the more modern style of painting, where things are more blended and a little more realistic, aka grimdark. I don't know that I'm too much down with that. I like the old style painting. Oh, get in there, you. Oh, all right. I like the older style painting, just because it's the style that I kind of learned, and it's just layering up, you know, that Kev Dallimore style. Start out with a dark, go to the mid-tone. From the mid-tone, hello, kitty. Telling me all about it. Yep. All right. Whatever. Tell me all about it, kitty cat. All right. So I am back. All right. So here is one of my early orcs that I painted up with Tester's enamel. So that is that's olive drab, and then I think I mixed a little white into it, white or maybe I'm not sure what, but I did sort of a little dry brush there. You can see a little gradient, a little tonage difference on the fingers and the back of the hands. So he's got red eyes, as an orc should, and then leather colored straps and the loincloth, and so that was all done with testers. So that's a old lead figure. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. Then here's one I did once I found acrylics, and these were I think Armory acrylics that I got at the complete Strategist in New York. So I painted that guy up. I found the appropriate banner. Hello, hey, look out. I found the appropriate banner in a package of Orc banners. And this guy, I painted him one for one. According to the way that he was portrayed in the little folding, there's used to have a little brochure. Fantasy Battle used to have a little brochure, and I picked up all of them, and they gave a little overview of each army, and that's how that was painted in that brochure. I'm sure there's some things I missed, but I followed the way it was studio painted, and yeah, there it was. That's what I did. Now I think I might have deviated maybe on the bad moon or the bad sun up at the top. I might have just done that my own style, but the color choice, even the paint application on the side of his sword, that was how it was actually painted in the picture. And then here was some old Battle Masters orc from some years ago, and I still need to paint his. I need to paint his tusks look like, but painted this up, and I used whatever paint I had here. Not here, but this was when I was living. I did this guy up when I was living in my apartment. So those are all acrylics. That's just all acrylic work right there. So it's not great, but it serves the purpose, right? So, Pumpkin, you are welcome to be in my lap anytime except right now, friend. There's more things that are important to me right now than petting the cat. But to you, that's the most important thing, right? You are a pirate, sir. You are a pirate. All right. I'm going to put you down. No, I'm not. That's not what I mean. Folks, I'm not going to put him down. I'm just going to put him down. On the floor, I mean. Okay. Pumpkin, dude. Like. Can I get you off of my lap here? Okay, there you go. Good boy. You like hanging out underneath the shelves. Why don't you hang out underneath the shelves like you like to so much? All right. Clean up that a little bit. And we'll get some more paper towel. And I think what I might do is I might dry brush some of this moot green. If it's any good, we might use it. I don't really know how far I want to take the coloration on these guys. Let me see if I can find that green ink. I know I've got green ink here somewhere. Let's see, there is a black green ink from Vallejo. I don't know that I want to use that. I've got a green wash from Vallejo. let's try different products. What do you say? So we'll paint up a few guys with this green wash. We'll mix it up. Here we go. Watch your ears. All right, so that's should be pretty well mixed up. So I was gonna check against the original Goblin Green that I used on this guy here. So it's a little dark because of the ink I used, I think. So let's check that elbow right there. Looks like it was a little bit brighter even, doesn't it? It's very difficult to find find whether how much of a match it might have been. It looks like the original Goblin Green was a little bit on the bright side. So it looks like this one actually is the more correct Goblin Green. I know I'm just going to be looking to see if I can figure out what Goblin Green is, right? Here is the HMG Goblin Green. Pretty close, isn't it? Pretty close. We get very pedantic about this, folks. We get what's the word they say? Weaponized autism. Well, I'm not, as far as I know, I'm not autistic, but I am a little bit obsessive. So that is probably both to my advantage. Obsession is a strength and a weakness, I will tell you this. So, let me go put these guys back in the cabinet. All right. Back in the cabinet, those guys are. And so this is starting to dry up, and it looks like, man, it's really hard to tell. It's more the finish that we're seeing here, and that may be just because some of it's still wet. But I don't know. Hard to say. Let's go ahead. Maybe we'll use some of this moot green. Well, hold on. Let me see if I can find the HMG wash. So let's get the green wash, the green shade, green tone from Army Painter. Put that up here. So green tone, green wash, and let me see if I can find the actual HMG, used to be Citadel ink. I think I've got some green ink here left over. Last I knew it was the original. If I can find it again. Well, wouldn't you know, I already had a bottle of Goblin Green open. I didn't have to open that bottle of Goblin Green. Go figure. Let's see, that ink would have had a blue top, I think. And it would be in with the old Citadels. I didn't see it last time. I looked just a minute ago. So evidently I had a bottle already open here. So that might have been what I used last time. I don't know. I'm really not sure as far as what's going on there. Let me see if I can find that old bottle of ink. I know I have some of these old Citadel inks that are actually still in pretty good condition. Look out, Pumpkin. You are gonna get in trouble here. I got the brown ink. I got the brown ink. That one's gone. I got the magenta ink. Huh. I've got shining gold still alive. Maybe that. Man, I wonder if that finally did give up the ghost. Let me take a look real quick. Look out, Pumpkin. Look out, buddy. Look out. Look out. Look out. Alright. Let's get this off of here again. Let's see. Ink, ink, ink. Deadly Nightshade. Purple ink. Wow, I'm surprised that's still alive. Although purple ink is not a bad idea for shading green, believe it or not, it's actually a very, very good way to shade green. That be maybe. Aha! Here it is! Ha ha ha! Ha ha! All right. Ha ha ha. All right, here we are, folks. Here we are. Dun 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 dun. Citadel color, orc flesh wash. And listen, it is still viable. I'm going to mix it up on the Typhoon here. All right. So I have all the orc greens here, so to speak. I have all the orc greens, all the greens you could ever want to use to paint orcs. So green skin as a base coat, goblin green from Army Painter as a layer up. I could use the coat arms, which this one was actually the one that was opened a long time ago. I actually opened a bottle that I didn't need to open tonight because I have a lot of paint. War Boss green. It's evidently still good. Skarsnik green. Also still good. Original, well, third wave Citadel Goblin green. I can't tell. Hard to tell whether or not it's any good. Same with this one. Yep, that one looks pretty dead to me. And that one could be salvaged. So I'll bet you this. Yeah, I bet you that one was what I actually used though in those other boys. All right. Well, this is going to be fun. Let's set my goblin greens on over out of the way here. We'll do whatever we do, what we do, when we do. All right, we got Thraka Green Wash. Not a whole lot left in there. It's been sitting for a while in these horrible dry amounts. I've got Green Wash from Vallejo, game color. Looks like it's still got some solidification in the base there where things have separated out, so it might need another round on the old Typhoon there. That looks better. Probably full of bubbles though. So let's put the quick shade green tone wash on there again. All right, let's try it. Let's see how that works. And we'll mix up the original Citadel color Orc Flesh Wash. And it still sounds viable. So we'll give it another shot. There's a little bit of sedimentation in the base, the bottom there. But we'll see. See what happens. Okay, I think that's going to be plenty enough. Oh yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that, would you? Would you look at that? All right, let's grab a boy here and we will make one of these fellers the sacrificial sacrament here and see how this works. Get a little water on there. See how it see if it flows. So this is the old Orc Flesh Wash. Like most washes, it wants to collect and also wants to pool up a little bit. So what we might do is we might let it do what it wants to do. And then go back over and give a dry brush of a lighter color. Look at that old wash. And that is a wash. It is absolutely an actual wash. That was that is the old original wash from Citadel. So if you think washes were just sort of a new thing the last few years, I got news for you. It's just Citadel forgot that they had that in their arsenal and got everybody to buy washes again. So that makes that darker green, which I don't mind. If we go back to do a little dry brush, yeah, don't mind that at all. It collects well in the it seems to collect pretty well in the recesses. It has a pretty good gradient to it as well, so cool. All right, so now that we see that that still works and it's still viable, let's try another product. Let's try Game Wash, Vallejo Game Wash. Let's try their green wash. I've never tried this before, so you'll find out when I find out. Well, that's very color dense green wash, isn't it? Let's see what happens when I put it over this fella here. It may be too light of a wash. I'm getting that feeling that it might be a little too light. Probably go over great if I had a white prime on this, and I bet I could use that wash as a nice green, almost like a speed paint consistency with this green wash. But yeah, it's very subtle. That's going to dry too close to the actual color there. I don't think it's going to serve our purposes. I don't think the Vallejo green wash is quite as vibrant as the old Citadel green wash. Right? So yeah, I mean, I can see it, but it doesn't seem very flowy. Now, the old Citadel green wash seemed to tone everything a little bit. So, good, bad. It doesn't thin out as well. I mean, I guess I could have added more water to it, but at that point, I think it would possibly run off a little too easily. So, but I had in years gone by, I do remember using the Orc flesh wash and kind of painting it into those recesses and not letting it sit up on the high points. But we're going for speed, not precision on this particular project this month. So So because it's a wash, we're going to wash with it, right? Yeah, I just don't see that Vallejo green wash is doing much. Maybe if I was up a little bit lighter. So I'm going to put that back on the shelf. I don't think it's doing much. Although there is also this black green. So that might be something to try. So I'm going to put that on the Typhoon. So watch your headphones, folks. All right, so we'll try that game ink. Now that was a wash. The green one, there was the wash, and then this is the game ink. So this green wash, game ink. The green wash I was not really impressed with. A little too light. So we'll see if that game ink does anything. So we'll put the wash back on the shelf. I think we're not going to try that with this particular project. So I'm already pretty well committed. Definitely going to be using this to an extent. Here's the green tone from Army Painter Quick Shade, and here's the old Citadel Thraka green. So let's try the Quick Shade green tone first. We'll give it a shot. We'll see what happens with it. And we're going to use it on this fella. Now this is one of the lighter colored boys from the earlier batch that I really didn't worry too much about. They were in the case. All right, so that green tone is pretty strong. Pick up a little bit of it. See where it leads us. Kind of like it. It's kind of got a speed paint quality to it. It does tend to color everything around it as the quick shades would do. Because it's a quick shade, it's not really a wash. I mean, it's a wash, but they call it a quick shade, so it's going to shade everything around it. But it's thin enough to where it flows pretty nicely into those recesses. But again, I'm kind of just slopping it all over. I'm not really directing it where to go, so we'll see what happens. See how it feels. I mean, it feels pretty good. But it is coloring everything down a shade or two, and I kind of want these guys to be a little more on the bright side. But at the same time, I see a lot of really good definition where it's kind of settling. So I don't know. Might be pretty good. So it's settling there a little bit. Let's let it dry up before we really come up with a final judgment on that one. But the quick shade, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with an Army Painter product anyway, even their older ones. So yeah, that's not bad. It's not bad. From what I can tell, it's not terrible at all. So we'll set that aside. So the quick shade gets a thumbs up. So the green tone quick shade gets a thumbs up. And the game ink, let's try the Vallejo game ink real quick. Now, inks really shouldn't be used like washes, but we're going to do that because here in the Pocket Dimension we are game anarchists, which means we're painting anarchists. And I don't mean anarchists big A, I mean little a. So this is the game ink, which has a very similar coloration to the Army Painter Quick Shade Green. Now that's a very strong green ink there. It flows pretty well. It gets into the deep spots there. It's into all those crevices. But like most inks, it also is coloring everything that's around it, which is to be understood, which is kind of to be expected as well. So I kind of like this game ink. It's working pretty nicely. Now, I don't know if it'll reactivate once I go back to paint the teeth and eyes on that face. Don't really know how that'll work. But there you have it. Add a little water to it and it'll probably flow a little bit more. Got to be careful. Now, of course, something else I could do is I could add a little flow improver to it and really make an interesting little glaze. But that game ink actually is definitely not I'm definitely not upset with it. Not against it at all. So that looks pretty good, huh? That game ink. It settles nicely in some of those more shallow recesses as well. Don't know how long that's going to take to dry. So between the game ink and the quick shade wash, there seem to be a lot of similarities with the way it behaves. Now the wash is a little bit less liquid. It's got a little bit more viscosity, it looks like. Or not viscosity, that's flow, right? I'm talking it's got a little more, I guess, viscosity, because I don't know. Whatever it is like right there. That is kind of where it clumps together. And right here, I've got this ink that clumps together, but also the ink tends to not be quite as delineated. It flows off a little bit more. So I don't know. I mean, those are both very good quality items. I'd have to say that the Orc Flesh Wash, even though it's old, it does pretty well. Problem is, now I'm going over it with the ink, right? Problem is, and it may be because of the age. Also, I don't have it really thinned out very well. I just kind of put it right from the bottle pretty well onto the subject here. I don't know, it just seems to color everything around it the same color a little bit. Like I said, that could be just an artifact because of it being so old. But I would have to say that's kind of in my second place. So far, Quick Shade Green Tone, Orc Wash, and Game Ink So these two are like 1 and 1.5. The Orc Wash is a number 2. So 1.5, number 2, and now we're going to try this Thraka Green. So this is the Citadel Thraka Green. And I'm just going to give it another quick little shake on the Typhoon. And I don't have very much of this left. Not that I ever had much to begin with. Whatever was in there, I'm sure that it has flashed off. Now this is that green wash, the Vallejo green wash. It's very subtle. Very, very subtle. I mean, it's there, but it's not really... I mean, it's so subtle. And I like that, but I think for a tabletop piece, I want to be a little bit more bold. So, yeah, I've already written off that green wash. That might be something I would use maybe for more of a display piece, where I want a little more subtlety on the gradation. So, all right. So Thraka Green. We're gonna try the Thraka Green next, and because it's a wash, we're just gonna slap it on there. Wouldn't it be funny if the Thraka Green was the same formulation as the original Citadel Orc Flesh Green wash? That would be funny. I don't think it is, though. It does seem to flow a little bit and not color everything around it quite so harshly. But because it's been sitting, I think it's got little dried bits in there. So now my dude's got some, like, freckles. It smells funny too. It smells like barbecue. There was some of this wash that they had to recall. I think they had used like reclaimed water when they made it. Whoever made it probably came from China. I don't know. But Thraka Green's not bad. Not bad. It's got some good gradient, right? Like right here on the hands. Got good gradient there. Same thing here on the muscles. Pretty good gradient. But as with many washes, it will influence the color of the things around it. Because you're slapping it all over the figure and just letting it do its thing, you know. And of course you can add a little more in places. And of course now there's some of those little flecks, those little freckles. Not bad. Not bad. The Thraka Green wash is not bad. So, but it's, I don't know, it's like it's hard to say, you know? I wonder if I mixed them all up together, then probably get something really amazing. Or maybe not, I don't know. So those are pretty good. The green tone, the Verde, the black green Game Ink, Orc Flesh Wash, and Thraka Green, they are all pretty decent. The Thraka Green, the only mark that I have against the Thraka Green is the little bits that came out in there with it. It collects pretty well in the low places. It's got pretty decent delineation. This is the original Orc Flesh Wash, and it kind of just turns everything almost the same color green. There's not a great amount of noticeable like it's a little too opaque. So I don't know which one I think I'll use up the Thraka green because I have the least amount of it. So I may just use that. I don't know. That green tone's pretty decent. Green tone and the game ink are they're both pretty good. I don't know. I don't know, folks. Let's do 10 guys with the green tone, and we'll do 10 guys with the black green, and we'll do 10 guys up with the Orc Flesh Wash, and we'll do 10 guys up with the Thraka. Not counting the testers here. And this guy's going to cycle back in because that was really not that noticeable. That green wash, that Vallejo green wash did seem to darken up a little bit, but still, it's just not. I mean, it's very subtle. It looks good close up, but it's a little too subtle for tabletop purposes, I think. Now, maybe if I mixed it in with a little bit of game ink, maybe it would be a little bit better. Maybe it would take off some of the edge of the game ink as well. I don't know. Hard to say. I can't say because I don't know. I don't know, and so therefore I can't say. A little whisker or something got in the paint work. Huh. All right. Let's see. I'm going to pick up some of this, whatever this was. Whatever this was, I'm going to use that again. Hey, these are all kind of sitting here all not dry yet, so I can add a little water and just mix them together and see what happens. And they all act about the same way. The Thraka Green's got an interesting scent to it, I will say that. So it's a little more subtle altogether. Of course, I think they're a little on the drier side, so they're probably not quite so flowy right now, but that's pretty good. All right. So I'm going to set these dudes aside. 1, 2. Now this guy with the Orc Flesh Wash, that is kind of striking. But again, I'd have to go back over him with a dry brush, I think, which is fine. I don't intend not to necessarily, though I would like to avoid maybe going back over everything with dry brushing. But yeah. So each of these 4 products right here, the green tone from Army Painter, the Game Ink, Orc Flesh Wash, and the Thraka Green, those are probably pretty decent. I would have to say they're not bad at all. So let's just grab up 10 dudes. And 1, 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, a 7, 8, a 9, a 10. Alright, so let's do up 10 of those guys. We'll use the Thraka green for them. So once these washes go down, it seems like that base coat green is not quite as important. So you can see how there's a couple of different colors there. This is the HMG coat to arms original Citadel, and then this one was, I think, the Army Painter. So let's just go ahead and try this stuff out. We'll go with Thraka green to begin with, and yeah. And we'll just start slopping it all over these guys. Pachoom. Does have some bubbles. Does hold on to the bubbles a little bit. But I think dry brushing will be in order for these dudes, even after the wash goes down. After the washes go down, because the washes are just a little bit too opaque. I mean, they're just not. I mean, they got good shading and everything, and I mean, once they're dry, maybe it'll change my mind, but they're just a little dark yet, and I want my guys to be a little brighter. So, Thraka green here. There are air bubbles in that Thraka green, and I think there were air bubbles even actually before I put it on the Typhoon, because I shook it up by hand and it just seemed like there were bubbles in there before. So I guess if I add a little dish soap or something, it would probably help. But I don't know. I don't know everything about painting, folks. I just muddle my way through like most everybody else. I've learned a few things over the years about paint, and then I've tried various things, but usually doing a base, a wash, and then a dry brush, that's kind of outside of my wheelhouse. It's kind of more of a modern method than what I usually use. If you're watching out there and you're not on Twitch, you're on Rumble or YouTube, feel free to hit that like. Use the copy link option in share, even if you're not able, even if there's nowhere you really want to share the stream. It will kick the algorithm in the pants and give a little more engagement notice there. So if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you like it, hit that like button. Same thing for Rumble. That would be terrific if you could do that for me. Also, if you are watching and you want to help out a good cause, hop over to my Twitch channel and make a little small donation to the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Maybe somebody could use some good words today. Those bubbles just drive me bonkers. Tiny bubbles. Which is about all I can do because of the algorithm. The algorithm. The YouTube doesn't like it when you get a little singy songy with other people's singy songs. Very strange, you know. Yeah, that's the one thing. That's the one drawback to this Thraka Green is I'm not getting. I've got a lot of little bubbles in there, and that's very difficult to remedy. So the Thraka Green is starting to dry up. Yeah. So I am going to have to definitely go back over and dry brush these guys up, I think. I mean, I guess I could just leave the wash on there as it is and it'd be alright. But I'm not really getting a lot of great definition off of it. And I think that's just going to be the way we do all of these guys up, is just let the washes do what the washes are going to do, and then we'll go back over and give everything a scrubby old dry brush. Now there is one other thing that I didn't try, but it is quite time consuming. I could actually take I've got Speed Paint 1.0, and what I could do is I could actually put it all over everything. I could go back and use the water to reactivate it and scrub away on the high parts of the muscles. Now I might do that with the War Boss, but I'm not going to go for just your bog standard boys. I'm not going to go to any great lengths to make them look too far outstanding. It is almost 10 o'clock, folks. Do you know where your children are? Yes, they're in their bedrooms playing on their iPads. Well, I guess there's one thing to be said about that, is at least you know where your kids are. I wonder if I added a little more water to this Thraka green, whether it would thin it up enough to where it'd still flow. I mean, I'm still gonna, I don't know. Will I get tea staining on this? Coffee staining? I don't know. Probably. But we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I think once the washes are dry, they're definitely going to have to be some dry brushing to bring the detail back up on these fellas' physiology. Might have to take a break here in a minute just to stretch. I've been sitting here for near on to 3 hours. I got a little late start because I did get home a little late tonight, so needed a few minutes to myself just to breathe, kind of decompress a little bit. Not that I had a rough day, I just had a busy day. I think I'm getting a little too old to be climbing around in attics, under houses. I need a helper. Definitely need a helper. Problem is, it's hard to find young guys that have any serviceable skills, want to work even. So I think tomorrow I'll have a shorter day at work. I work most of my hours already. I do need to write up a couple of estimates for some people, though. So I've got to get that done. Kind of is in the back of my mind, and every time I don't have time to do anything about it during the rest of the days. So maybe I can do that tomorrow. Got a couple hours at one feller's house to finish up what I'm doing there, and hopefully that goes pretty smooth. But I think I need to get those estimates done and out the door. One's for a corporate outfit. They don't seem to really like it when I bring an estimate around. They haven't accepted my last estimate for some work that needs to be done. It's like, well, I mean, I guess, your place keeps falling down around your head. If you're not gonna take the work, then I guess you're not gonna. I guess you're just gonna have to suffer, like suffer. So I may just take a break here in another minute or so. I was going to order DoorDash this evening, but it was just getting too late. Now it's way too late. So I'll have to order a pizza, probably. Again. But a lot of that has to do with I got a customer that just doesn't want to get started early in the morning. Or leave me with a set of keys, They don't even have anything in their house yet. They're moving in and need this work done. It's like, well, if I had the keys, I could go ahead and get this done. I could be here at 7 in the morning instead of 8:30, 9 o'clock. I do like to start early if I can. Sometimes I'm not able to start early. Sometimes I have health issues too. I'll wake up with a nasty headache or something, you know. All right, so that was 10 dudes with the Thraka wash. We'll see how that turns out. I mean, it's drying. It is definitely drying up. I mean, I see some good gradients going on there, but it's not, I don't know, it's not quite, doesn't seem to be super definitive, you know? And I don't remember which of these test guys I did with the Thraka green. I want to say it was this dude. I mean, it's pretty good. You know, it's got good gradients going on, but I still want these guys to have brighter. I want my orcs a little bit more pale. Paler shade of orc. Wasn't that a song? A paler shade of orc. That's, what is that? 9. One more. Alright, so that was the Thraka green we used. So we'll put the Thraka green over here on this little citadel-sized rack. Oh, let's go with the game ink. What do you say? Go with the game ink on this one. On this round of dudes. Well, it's 10 o'clock right now. 10:08. I'm going to take a little break. Get up and not be stuck in the seating position here. So I'll be right back. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Welcome back to the Pocket Dimension, everybody. We are back. I ordered the pizza. It is coming. About 25 minutes. So, I may be called away on sudden urgent notice. Alright, what were we going to be using here? I think we're going to be using the game ink on these guys. Hello, pumpkin. Do you want a green tail? You're going to wind up with green on your tail, buddy. I don't think you'd like that very much. Oh, look out. Look out. Alright. Inspect what's going on here. Interesting new smells. Okay, look. You're too fat. You're too big. You're too big. Oh, watch your tail. Wipe out a whole division of orcs with that tail, buddy. Alright. Alright, game ink, here we go. And if it mixes in with whatever this was here, which was the wash, that's okay too. They seem to work. They seem to play well together, you know. So. It's a little bit of an olivey sort of green wash, isn't it? Or what is this? Ink. Ink. Pumpkin, your claws are kind of digging into my chest there. I don't much care for it, buddy. Doesn't feel good, pal. No, sir. Ouch, 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 ouch. You don't have to knead. You can knead without your claws here, can't you? Or no? I guess that's part of the claws is part of the kneading. Ow, you're not going to fall off my lap, okay? Okay, good boy. Good boy. Put the claws away. It's really hard to paint bent over with the cat on your lap. Just that few extra inches away from the desk makes life very difficult. I will say. I must say it does. I must say. I don't know if anybody out there can hear him purring, but his engine is on. His claws are digging in, I'll tell you what. He's just being all snuggly right now. I don't have a problem with a snuggly cat. Definitely worth it. can be difficult to get things done. Ouch. Ouch, 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 ouch. With a cat on your lap. Ouch, 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 ouch. Really with the claws? Come on now, dude. And I'm getting a little bit of bubbles in there. Mostly from the brush, I think. Because it's a kind of a stiffer brush than really what I should be using for inks and washes. But it is what it is, and it works okay, and we're doing what we're doing. This is for fun, not display. We're not worried about too many things. Just want to get paint on our figures. Paint on the boys. I would stay up really late tonight, but I do have an appointment in the morning to finish up some work. Even though I think I already hit my 40 hours. Hey, Black Skull, how's it going? Painting miniatures for fun? What kind of anarchist derivative propaganda is that? Well, you know me. I mean, says it right there in my Twitter bio. Gaming anarchist. Not gaming anarchist. That's completely different. Games anarchist. I mean, that's what you're into here. If you're on my channel, you're in for games anarchy here. Don't follow any rules. We make up the rules as we go. I'm a wild-eyed radical. What can I say? Yep, that's right. Wild-eyed radical. That's me. How's Black Skull doing tonight? You tuned in on the right evening. I got Pumpkin here on the lap. He's been purring away. Painting miniatures for fun? Yes, that's right. Derivative propaganda? It is, yes. Hard to believe, right? Oh, alrighty there. Supposedly, I've got a pizza coming here in about 15 minutes. Supposedly. Alright, this ink tends to dry off pretty quick, doesn't it? It's an interesting product, this ink. I don't know if it's the greatest thing to be using on this, but that's what we're using. It and the wash tends to act very similar. And I'm not really pushing it around. I'm not really spending a whole lot of time. I'll worry about the details later on when it comes time to do details. Let's see. I shall write a sternly worded letter to your congressman about your claims of mirth in applying pigments. Then we'll see some action, right? Yes. There you go. Never have I seen more things. Yes, crazy. Yes, it is. I'm sure that's one way to get something done. Sure, that's one way to get something done. I'm sure if you testify before Congress, they'll get right on it. Why does nothing ever seem to happen? No matter, I don't care I don't care which administration. Watch. They seem to interview people, or they seem to interrogate people in front of Congress left and right all day long, and nothing ever changes. What a bunch of useless people. I guess if they actually had to do something, it'd be too close to work. Like I always say, the government hates you, and they're all in it for themselves. That is the extent of our political comment on this channel. That's pretty much how it goes. I don't really care who's in office. They all come out better than when they went in. Why is that? Better off, I should say. Not better, just better off. Oh, not my guy, says somebody. Oh, yeah, your guy too. Oh, not my guy. But yeah, you can write a sternly worded letter to the congressman. He ain't my congressman. The one that takes care of this area, I guess. Tell him all about how I'm having fun applying colors to plastic. It'll help if you fold in a couple of $100 bills to their black skull. I'm sure he'll get right on it. I did something today I swore I would not do. My willpower faded. Uh-oh. I broke down and ordered the DC Untied box set. Wow. The need to paint those DC chibis and play the game became too strong. Darn Instagram. Nice. Well, I mean, you have been painting those Marvel United. So it just seems to follow naturally that you would probably fall into the trap of the DC United. So, I mean, it's just kind of a lost cause there, Black Skull. I mean, they're going to get you one way or another. They are going to get you. If they didn't get you with the Marvel, they'll get you with the DC. They've got your flavor picked out there. Well, last week I went to that little gaming convention over in Louisville, and I don't know if I told you this story Tuesday night or not. But I bought the Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, Night's Watch, Army Starter. So I didn't know I was going to get it until I got it. It just somehow happened to jump into my hands. And yeah, there you go. And I mean, I had my mind on maybe some other things that I saw there, or was going to get some other things, but then I was like, I saw that, and it was like, well, that's my budget right there. It was 50% off, and then I got six of the expansions, the army expansions as well. So I will send some coupons for Applebee's, some candy cigarettes, and a gift certificate to Target. That should seal the deal. Yeah, there you go. That'll probably get them up and running. Now the trick is that the state congressman or is that the guy they send to the federal government? I don't know. Because when I moved into this area, I got a letter from the state congressman, welcoming me into his district. And I was like, I don't even know who you are. I don't even care who you are. I could care less. I'm like, oh, okay. Huh. All right. He's probably waiting for me to write back. He probably wanted to be pen pals. About 10 minutes to pizza time, I think, here. I'm going to check in just a minute. So that is the Vallejo Game Inc. right here. Black-green, which works pretty well, it seems. Very similar to the Citadel Color Orc Flesh Wash. There's an old friend. I'm surprised it's lasted this long, but it has lasted. My goodness, that's got to be 30 years old. Quite honestly, pretty close to. Hey Miar, my stepson and I tried learning the rules for Halo Flashpoint. He was upset we didn't get to play the game because I had to go to bed. Well, at least you looked over the rules, so it'll kind of work through his mind as he sleeps, and it'll come. Hopefully, you guys can come at it with fresh eyes. To maybe tomorrow evening or over the weekend. I hope you get to play over the weekend, Miar. But the fact that you guys got to look over the rules already, that will help when you sit down to play that first game. It'll kind of ruminate on it, and the way our brains work when we go over information like that, sometimes it takes a day or two for it to kind of germinate and grow in our brains. So I think you're gonna have a good time. Read the rules, go to bed, forget everything. There's some more rules we need to go over. He says, I was trying to go through the tutorial and he kept asking questions and more. His fault. Well, at least he's asking questions, so that's good. Usually I've found that most of those questions can be answered by reading the rest of the rules. But that's good. I'm glad. I know you said that you were looking forward to trying it with him, and that you might get him to play it with you. So hopefully you guys can get to play this weekend, and hopefully it is money well spent. Very excited. Excellent. Oh, let's see. Not that one. This one. Another little dollop of the game ink there. So earlier I was trying out the different orc type flesh washes that I have here. This I was kind of disappointed with. This is green wash, and it was very faint, and in fact it was very close to the orc skin, the goblin green skin, the goblin green whatever color already, so it didn't quite show up very well. But all the rest, these darker colors, between the game ink, the green tone, this, and what else was there that I used? Oh, the Thraka green. I used Thraka green here. So this is a little bit of an older product as well. Yeah, those have all been pretty good. So this was these guys were the Thraka green guys. So it darkened things up considerably, but that's just kind of something that I think happens with these, and the inks tend to gather a little bit better in the recesses, but it still informs the. Oh, pizza's here. Just a moment. All right. Dinner is served. Okay. Let's see. I'm still stuffed from dinner, so pass. Oh, I can go for pizza. Yeah, right? Just have approachment. So, yeah. All right. There we go. So, trying the Vallejo Game Ink. A little bit of water seems to help it kind of gather in the deep recesses, and it kind of washes off the high points a little bit better than some of the more dedicated actual washes. But I am going to go back over, I think, and dry brush back up to a lighter green. Yeah, I've got a customer that I'm doing work for. They're older, so I can't start too early on their place. So I worked a little bit later tonight. I mean, I put my time in one way or the other, right? The guy asked me, do you want to start? What time do you want to? I said, what time is good for you? He says, oh, well, we usually are up about 9. So I said, okay, I'll be here at 9 for you. So it's like, that doesn't put you back too late, does it? I said, no. I said, takes me the same amount of time whether I start at 7 or 9. It just is a matter of, when I get home. Starting early doesn't make the job go any faster. It just is, you're going to get my time that you're paying for one way or the other. And if you guys are not in a position to be able to open up your house until later in the morning, well, then I guess it's just going to be later in the morning that I start. So, for the DC minis, yeah, darker than the MU minis I painted for my client. A little more dramatic lighting. We'll see once again. Nice. Nice. Looking forward to following that project on Instagram. Folks, if you're not following Black Skull 1965 on Instagram, you should definitely do so. He turns out some beautiful work. So that is the Game Ink. So that turns out pretty good. Again, it tends to wash everything a little darker than I want, but it does gather in the recesses quite nicely. And this one I thinned down a little further so it didn't quite take the base coat down with it as badly. But still, I am going to have to maybe dry brush those up a bit. And this was the Thraka Green. It's a little on the subtle side as far as I don't know, it's okay. I don't mind subtle, but I was hoping for something a little more punchy. So I just don't like going from a really bright green to a darker green. So Game Ink, that is a go. I like using that. And this is the old school Orc Flesh Wash. So it's quarter till. I've got pizza I need to eat. I think I'm going to put a pin in it for tonight. Yeah, so green tone, I'll work on these some more over the weekend, I think. Dig out the fantasy orcs, and we'll work on some of them next week. Yeah, so that's it for tonight, I think, folks. Sorry I'm cutting a little short, but I don't want to make that pizza wait on me. That would be just rude. So, like I always say, no matter how bad today might have been for you, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. And I know I usually read out on Twitch, so we'll go ahead and do that. Keep on painting. Keep on